The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Well, we're off 15.5 points on the S&P cash. Dow's off up 7, excuse me. Nasdaq's down 92. Russell's off 11 or 12. And, Nasdaq continues to be the weakest sister. Russell's kind of in line with the S&P. We talked yesterday about sector rotation. This is kind of what it looks like, and it can go on for several weeks. I think, in fact, I'll need to look at it tonight. But I had a thought earlier in the last hour, and I was thinking about how that $30 billion comes out every month of the Fed's balance sheet. And maybe we're getting to the point now where it's maybe not such a big deal anymore for that, as much as you're actually getting now to the point where some of the excesses of the market are being exposed. Mr. Buffett from Omaha, the so-called Oracle of Omaha, I call him the best stock manipulator in America. If you own all the stock, you can set whatever price you want on it. So there's more than a monopoly to allow you to set the price. The real question would be, for the stocks he owns, what would be the price if he had to sell them all tomorrow? Even if you could sell them over the next year, what would the price of that stock be? That would be a much better reflection of what's going on. But back to my point in hand, and not my obliquely attack on the so-called Oracle of Omaha. But you've got this market. You've got the, in fact, we'll bring the chart up. Maybe it'll be the first one I bring up. What you saw yesterday was a lot of selling in the morning, a little bit of buying in the afternoon. But what that should have told you was that was the last day of fun buying, maybe a little bit today. Maybe some people hang out for the 6. But, you got pretty much all I think you're going to get. But the huge move in the consumer stocks yesterday told you one thing, and that is, as money came out of a lot of the NASDAQ stocks, they didn't go back into other NASDAQ stocks. That is a little different than before. What they did was pile in on stocks like toothpaste and all the other stuff that is this safety trade. Maybe we'll find, maybe the engineer can find the safety dance song, and we can get that earworm into your head, and you won't be able to get it out for a whole day. We'll be able to do that to you. But it's not uncommon to see a lot of selling in the morning during these periods, and then some buying in the afternoon. But this is kind of the end of whatever you think for fun buying. So is it the end of the world? No. But the fact that we haven't had a huge inflow of cash is also fairly telling. That may tell you that a lot of people in Realville are thinking that maybe it's time to take a little money off the table. We're at 28.75. Support's really around 28.60, 28.65 on the S&P cash. Volume did expand rather briskly yesterday, above 7 billion shares for the day. If we look at that compared to what we have today, to about 4 billion shares, where most of August we had maybe, 3.5, 3.6, 3.1 billion shares at this time. But looks like another 7 billion day. And that was a handful of days when we went up. We're about 6 billion. And now we're to the point where the down days are 7 billion. And we've got just about as many up days as down days. So a little bit more sector rotation that could go on through the end of September. Then probably the lineup is for a fall rally. I think a lot of people are listening to the news now. And I would just remind you that some 45 reporters in the last 18 months have been fired for phony reporting. We saw yet probably another phony article yesterday. I won't point out which one. I will tell you, though, that in the past, that newspaper that is trying to wring out some additional sales on the fact that they somehow have somebody that's in a high position got sued not too many years ago, a couple of years ago, and found out that the person that was at the height, a person that should know everything about the oil and gas business, was actually somebody who was an intern for the summer. So people like the New York Times and the rest, they got an axe to grind. And I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to that on the long term. On the short term, people can get nervous, especially into an election. And I think we're probably going to see a little bit of that and kind of just waiting to see what happens. But my guess is that starting right after the elections in November, we're probably off to the races again before the end of the year. So the question is, are you sitting on big gains now? You can probably afford to sit on the stock if it continues to hold up well. If it's acting weak, I wouldn't have any compunction of selling. I actually was reticent to talk about this today. In fact, I didn't even put it in my newsletter because I wanted to double and triple check the numbers. But we had in the options on the S&P 500, even though the S&P 500 didn't move that much, we had the biggest move in the projection of where option market makers think we're going to move for the VIX yesterday in almost 2.5 or 3 years. So something was going on yesterday. Maybe they know something we don't. Maybe they're just all wrong. A lot of times when people absolutely get the bearish, the most bearish, that is the end of the move in the market. So I wanted to see what happened today. But my guess is that we could see a market like this, and that is 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward in the afternoon, 2 steps backwards in the morning, 1 step forward in the afternoon until the sector rotation is over. And like I said, that could take all the way probably through the end of September, when a lot of wishful thinking is over. The elections are probably a lot more clear, and people will start betting in front of the elections. My guess that'll happen late September. We'll have a ramp into the elections, and then off to the races by the end of the year. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger Team TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we'll get into history in just a second. I wanted to follow up on my thoughts of the first segment. And that is, there's a great passage in Fooled by Randomness. It talks about he talks about in the markets, when rare things occur, how you put statistics with them. And that is the whole point of the black swan. You can't do it. What's the chance of getting hit by a meteor that kills everybody on the planet? And if it only happens every 5 million years or 10 million years or 100 million years, how do you put any kind of odds on any single day of that happening? So when you see something that happens incredibly rare, it always bugs me. 2 things. One, extrapolated rare events, like I saw in the movement of the VIX calls and puts yesterday, and to figure out and say what that actually means. It could mean a bottom, or it could mean that everybody just got incredibly bearish yesterday, anticipating that they are going to be selling. And so if they're going to be selling, well, let's go ahead and hedge it and just buy the biggest bang for the buck by buying puts on the S&P cash, or at least on or even on the VIX. So that's why I want to look at those kind of numbers. When you see a market move that isn't extraordinary, like we didn't have yesterday, I don't think anybody would have said anything more about it on just a normal day. If the move would have been 3 or 4 times that, I would have said, okay, there's a cause and an effect. But you know what? When there isn't much cause, but there's kind of a big effect going on, a lot of times something else is going on that you don't know what's going on yet. And trying to put cause and effect into play is problematic for the trader, just like it is for somebody trying to figure out what the odds are of getting hit by a meteor every 100 million years. It just doesn't mean much. And if you don't have a whole bunch of those kinds of moves, then there isn't any kind of history to go back and see what happened on those kind of moves. So All I know is something kind of big happened yesterday. It looks like the data is correct. I'm going to see tonight. I'll rerun the numbers and see if that's a one-day off thing. Maybe there was a reason that all the data was skewed yesterday in the options market. But if it holds up for a second day, probably not a one-off, but certainly a rare event, a black swan. And trying to put too much into a black swan is the definition of a black swan. It just hasn't happened enough to gain any consistency of what the outcome will be. Let's go ahead with a little bit of history.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating, and on this day in 2008, after 5 months of delays, a high-resolution Earth Observatory satellite, GOI-1, is launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base, owned by the corporation GOI Incorporated. GOI-1 is capable of taking high-resolution images and a detail down to 16 inches. However, the U.S. government has restricted that resolution to its own use. And why is this a big deal? Well, guess who paid for this? It was Google. So when you see Google Earth and you see all the stuff around it, they have and own all of the image pictures that come off of that satellite. Then they share it with the government. And of course, if you ever wondered why some of these things take off in Vandenberg out in California opposed to Florida, it's all about being able to take off in the northern launch in the northern direction over the poles. You can go about 45 degrees plus or minus to the east, launching from Kennedy Space Center. But you can launch, I think, 10 degrees, whatever it is, like northeast a little bit, all the way to almost exactly west of that Vandenberg takeoff site. But it's kind of a big deal. This is when Google really started to put cars on the road to do Google Maps. And one of the reasons why it is huge today, they went to space earlier on than everybody else. And why I always thought it was laughable when Apple decided to come along and do their own kind of Google or their Apple Earth. And it never really went very well. The product did poorly when it came out and continues to heavily lag. If you get the high ground, certainly Google did do it by getting a satellite up in the air. Let's go ahead and get something up. As I talked about it, hang on just a second. I need to bring something up so I can get doing what I'm talking about going on here. The XLP is what I thought was the most interesting signal of yesterday. That kind of confirms the movement that we've been looking at for a while. But the huge move in it yesterday, along with the associated volume and the pullback in the market itself, told you that as the NASDAQ was being sold, as some of the other parts of the market were being sold, people were piling into the consumer staple sector yesterday, not only with price, but with volume. And that is always the warning sign that the big guys on Wall Street are looking for somewhere to hide. They've got to be in something. You can't win if you don't play. It's kind of the motto on Wall Street. Mine would be, I would hold my powder dry until there was a good opportunity. But guess what? People don't like people that don't trade all the time. In fact, I think Buffett has a great saying on it. I'll look that up during the break and we'll bring it back. But as a fund manager, no one likes you when you put your cash in the pillow. And so what do they all do? Kind of birds of a feather, kind of a flocking behavior. And that flocking behavior says that anytime they think the market's headed lower, everybody does one thing, and that is run into the things that people will continue to buy, whether the markets are higher or lower, interest rates go a little higher or lower. Everybody's still going to be buying toothpaste, still going to be buying razor blades, still going to be buying all the same stuff that they always buy. And not a lot of follow through today on this one. I think tomorrow will be very interesting also at the close to see how the XLP does over the next few days. Okay. See anything else out here? Oh, we're going to break anyway. Give me a call, 877-927-6648. Email me at pat@tfnn.com. Put a message in the den. It does it all. Yeah.
The Path of Least Resistance, David White's daily market letter, gives you trade recommendations based on David's proprietary power law vector indicator that put the odds of success overwhelmingly in your favor. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price for each stock and option trade. David combines his years of trading experience along with his background in technology and computing to offer his subscribers his take on the markets on a daily basis. Every trading day by 9:30, David publishes his morning issue of The Path of Least Resistance, along with updates sent out throughout the week whenever there is new actionable trading information. All new subscribers receive a 30-day, no questions asked, money-back guarantee. To sign up for David White's daily trading newsletter right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And yeah, we're still off, 14 points. Dow's up 7, NASDAQ's off again. Another day of down 88. And I think the NASDAQ, you could make a fairly decent case, was probably the most bloated, retaining water, say that, of the stocks. A lot of them had rallied on what I couldn't find was really big news. Did have a email here saying, is there anything that really would change anything? And I would say take a look at Apple because the only big news that I can think of right now of that's coming out is Apple. And of course, on the 12th, is it? That let me get that up here. Just make sure. It's either the 11th or the 12th. I bet it's the 11th. I'll look it up during the next break. But I think it's 11th or 12th. They're coming out with a new product introduction. But again, I don't think it's anything more than the current iPhone point 1 or 2, a slightly, from what everybody can say, a very slightly warmed up version of Apple, maybe of the iPhone 10. I don't know of anything else happening that we kind of came off. There's a lot of leaks kind of coming out of that already, and I think that is kind of that you saw the break and the doji, and then the pullback on the 5th, and then today the continuation down. We'll watch the volume at the end of the day, but I have a feeling that a lot of people were expecting it. Maybe on Wall Street, we're expecting a lot more from Apple about this new product launch. Now, Apple's pretty good at keeping secrets. In fact, they become very, I'm going to call it Stalin-esque about going and killing anybody off in the company that speaks out of turn and presses those kinds of things on. Of course, they want to come out and wow everybody. That's almost become impossible anymore because they're building so many things. You're hiring 100 or 200,000 people to put things together for you in China. Something's got to leak. Can't build them all in one day. They're already, I guess, in production. It's hard to know what you can and can't believe about the leaks, other than the fact that most people, at least for the leaks, are not thinking that there's much to this new warmed up Apple product for next Tuesday. And I think, just with a move like we've seen today in Apple after the move yesterday, it's enough. What is it? The 14% of the NASDAQ. It's enough by itself to move. It looks like we're going to expand past the volume of yesterday. And you can say a little more, but if we're looking for much lower prices, I think the first thing's going to be getting past that product announcement. I'm going to bet it's on Tuesday. Just thinking about it. But that's about it. Anyway, 28.75 on the S&P cash. I have some people on a follow-up of Intel in our discussions yesterday. Would I buy it? The answer is no. You're going to get a test here at 46 bucks. The July 30th low and the August 20th low. So that's 46, 46.13 and 46.19. You'd want to see something in the range of 20 million shares or less. We've got about 10.5 million shares. But that 46 area certainly looks like it's going to get tested on any major pullback of the market. If you get into that with light volume, maybe there's a place to pick up for that into the fall. The big problem is going to be catching this thing without it going lower. My guess is that there's probably $3 to $5 in it the day, let's call it the 3 days after they actually get a CEO to take over from the vacant seat that it has now. I don't see anything other than that, and I don't know how you can buy this until it tests 46. Betting on that they do get a new CEO out means that you're probably going to miss the trade. I don't know. Trying to remember, was Beretta? I want to say Beretta. Maybe it was Rockford. I think it was Rockford, now that I think about it. And on one of his big exploits, he had some quite nice quip about there's always another bus coming along in 10 minutes. So you don't want to get too invested in trying to buy the absolute perfect bottom in this if you don't get a good shot at it. But I'd like to see 46 bucks tested with 20 million shares, 15 million shares to find something nice. This has been up to 57.30. There's no reason that over the next couple of years that it probably won't go up and retest 57 bucks. The thing is, just where do you buy it? And if they already had the CEO and it was coming back in light volume, no big deal. But you're probably, if you get that and you see it and you get in on it, got a quick mouse finger, I'm probably going to say that there's good $5 in this stock higher just on getting a CEO. Another question in the semi space about AMAT. And this thing is going back down to its previous lows. That is right where it is to the June 29th, 2017 low. It already has significant volume. That opens up this gap that goes back to the April 19th of 2017 that had 13.4 million shares. So you want to look at that April 19th, 2017 gap higher and move, but that's about 37.50. And if you're going to be very positive on the outlook for semis, you got to get AMAT to bottom out here. And certainly you picked up volume through that previous low, $40.29. What is that? June 29th of last year. So you're back to that low. Question is, when do these people actually get into the business of building new chips? And when everybody's buying one thing, they're in a extremely wide market past the smartphone business. That is kind of a problem. People aren't buying a lot of other type of electronics. So you get, one kind of branch or sector of the electronics market that's getting all the love, and that's not good for applied materials. You need a lot of different kinds of products. In the olden days, you'd buy a TV, you bought the VCR, you bought a home computer, you bought a lot of stuff. There's just not that much need right now with new products. You've got, kind of these islands, video cards with AMD and NVIDIA. You've got a few other things that are hot, that are making money, and people are willing to spend money on, but it's fairly narrow. I've got to say that this isn't the kind of market we saw where everybody was buying new infrastructure, maybe even a couple of years ago or a year ago. It's that kind of high water mark is hit for a while. We need some new products. That's always been the problem with like Best Buy, feast and famine. When they came out with the CD players, DVD players, there's always something that drags people into the store and start spending money. What's the new product now? Another new Xbox? Yeah, just not a lot of stuff dragging people into. We'll be back in a minute.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today. The Taz Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the Taz Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the Taz Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the Taz Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And as we're back, we'll also look at a few stocks. Some things that kind of bothersome from a just a psychological perspective in the market, and that's seeing some of these stocks like Aaron's Rents back at previous highs. Generally a good indication that everybody's spending a little bit too much of their money when they go to these exorbitant ways of buying less expensive goods under $1,000, washers, dryers, TVs, and paying double or triple over time for them. This is right up here at its highs, not a good sign. Also for auto sales, what you don't want to be seeing is stocks up with some gusto, like Advanced Auto Parts. This thing's continued to go higher, which is always a good sign. Of course, this thing got hammered by the thought that Amazon was going to club them. It never really came to pass. This thing's back up to 170.91, even if it comes back a little bit. Certainly, auto parts stores do well with an aging fleet out on the street, and the idea that everybody's buying a new car, a little problematic on that. AIMT, Immune Therapeutics. Don't know much about this particular stock. I do like the fact that this thing looks like one of the better patterns out in the market. I would have liked the energy to come off a little bit more, but I'm going to have to look at this one tonight. It's AIMT, but if you're looking for stocks that have good bottoming patterns, this is kind of one of the few out here. Let's take a quick look at IBB. You've kind of come off as it hit 120, pierced the 120 area that's been trying to come through, came off, but not a whole lot of energy so far, even though you got a fairly bad looking candle today. I would be very interested to see what the volume looks like the next couple of days on the IBB. Support's going to be about 116.50 on that one. ANH, another one that we want to take a quick look at. Let's go on. This is the one I wanted to look at, which is Anthem. Let's get it just to make sure I'm not saying wrong. This operates in health benefit companies, operates with 3 segments, commercial, specialty groups. This is popping out and topping out with no juice whatsoever. You got a couple of spikes at 257 and 266. That's back to January 31st of this year. So when everything was getting ready to fall apart. But you had about 4 million shares on that day. Yesterday, 2 million shares as you approached the top of that spike. Today, you're going through it with 828,000 shares so far. So there are some stocks out here that are going against the grain of the market lower today, but not with any juice. So watch those for signs of turnarounds in the next couple of days. see what else I had in here that I wanted to look at. Cabot Oil and Gas. Was trying to figure out if you would find anything. Had some people emailing me about potential lows coming in on some of these. I hadn't been very bullish on crude. I think somebody emailed me on Tuesday about it. I just don't see a lot of risk reward out here. Cabot has got about 4.5 million shares. That's going against the May 25th low at 2171, the 8.5 million shares. So watch how the volume comes back in and how this one acts. I would have liked to seen a lot less energy off that July 26th high. But if you're looking for stocks that are instantly getting washed out, certainly you don't have the volume in that one so far today. CSX, take a quick look at this one. There are some stocks out here that are starting to look like there could be some issues out here, and that, of course, is these things that we're just kind of hanging out here. CSX has been above the 9-day going back to July 18th. Closed a handful of days ago, on the 30th? Below that 9-day, it's kind of gone sideways. It goes back above and then closes back below again. I think you could make a pretty good case that this goes right back down to the $65 level. So if you're looking for some shorts, there are some things still setting up here that may take a little while. And that may be based on just how, if the crude market comes off and how much they ship in that vein of shipping sand and crude back and forth up into the Northwest. What else is on my list? Dick's Sporting Goods. Yeah, I was going to get to that one eventually. Click and clack. Dick's Sporting Goods. Wanted to see how some of these sporting goods companies were doing on the heels of Nike's debacle. I think I was talking about that on Tuesday. Yeah, I think maybe it was on Tuesday or yesterday morning. Someone brought it up, and all it could remind me of was Benetton's foray in. Some people called it kiddie porn. I think you could. They were certainly minors in rather suggestive poses. The whole idea was to get a lot of eyeballs. They did, and then of course, who hears about Benetton anymore? Problematic. But here's what you really got to look at. You came down with a lot of volume on Dick's on August 29th. You had 23 million shares. Now you bouncing back up to the previous high on May 30th that had 29 or 30 million shares. So far today, you got about 1.5 million shares. So there are some stocks out here that could have some fairly significant and quick moves in this market. And if people continue to hammer on, let's take a quick look. It looked to me earlier in the day when I looked at it. I mean, you gap down, you're kind of coming up a little bit. You know what? I would suggest that if this gets anywhere close to the 9-day or 3x3 displaced moving average on the downside, that you could probably short Nike and look for a move back down to about 74 bucks. That is this big gap back on, what is that, June 29th. But I just don't think it's probably going to turn out well for them. You want attention? The old saying is any kind of, anytime they say your name, it's, it's all good, free advertising. It may not be for Nike. Got a question about dust. We'll take a look at it. And we'll look at those. It certainly looks better. But again, this is the kind of pattern, if you're familiar when I talk about Joe DiNapoli's double repo pattern, you certainly kind of have this set up, but it's not something you ever pull the trigger on until you do one thing. And we'll talk about that in the next segment.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
I'm certain you are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
What is it, Joe DiNapoli? I think I met him 2001 or 2002. He had this pattern he called the double repo. I bring it up here from time to time just because when it does work, it's a monster. Basically, you're talking about 10, 15, 20 days above a 9-day or 3x3 displaced moving average. I like his displaced moving average as 3x3. It's a little quicker than a 9-day, and it makes this pattern fairly decent. But what I can tell you about it is that you've got a big run in dust. You closed below that for a few days. Now you've closed above it for about 5 days. If it stalls out here and closes once more again below that line, that is generally where you find major trend changes. So if you're bullish in gold, the big thing to do is to always sit there. I wouldn't buy the miners. I'd be much more interested in buying the metal itself for the reasons we talked about, especially mines in South Africa, other issues. But I think it could be a fairly, this is kind of the textbook pattern, especially if you buy his book, which, I don't know, like $200 or something. I remember I bought it. That's kind of it. A whole bunch of days, 10, 20 days above something like the 3x3, handful of days underneath it. Now this one is highly symmetrical, which generally is a fairly good sign out here. So the next big move underneath that, or the 9-day moving average on this, would be fairly significant. Yeah, will you give up maybe a point or two on this on the entry? The answer is yes, but until these things kind of cross that line, it could go either way. Pretty good bet if this closes back low. Maybe you might have something finally in that gold market. Keep an eye on it. Probably going to be a couple more days. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat.
TFNN has put together the finest programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 8 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m. as Larry Pesavento kicks us off with Trade What You See. Tuesdays and Thursdays, broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Swim lessons from TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim is now at 11 a.m., followed by Basil Chapman at 12 noon. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN.com, educating investors.